This is Dracula by Bram Stoker, retold by Chris Rice at the pre-intermediate level, Chapter 9. Carfax House. Mina and Jonathan were married in Budapest, and they returned to England as man and wife. A few days after they arrived, they had a message from Arthur. Professor Van Helsing wanted to meet them. Van Helsing met them at Paddington Station and took them back to his hotel. Mina told him about her holiday with Lucy in Whitby. Then Jonathan told his story. "Why haven't you told anybody about this story before now?" Van Helsing asked. When he finished, "It is unbelievable." "Oh, Professor," said Mina, looking at her husband's pale, lined face and graying hair. "He's been very ill. It was weeks before he could even tell me the story." Van Helsing then told them everything that happened after Lucy's death. "You will believe my story," he said, "as I believe yours, but no other people will believe us. So we are the only people who can fight this evil. And we can succeed with the information that you have both given me. I want you to join us. We are meeting tonight at Dr. Seward's house. You, Mr. Harker, know very well the dangers that I am asking you to join me in." "And so, my friends," Van Helsing said, near the end of his little speech, "these are the facts that we have discovered about our enemy. He is strong, but he also has weaknesses. He needs to rest during the hours of daylight, and this is his greatest weakness. If we can catch him in his box, we can destroy him." "But we need to know where these boxes are," said Dr. Seward. "We do know," replied Van Helsing, "because Jonathan told us. They are not far from this room, in Carfax House." "Carfax House," Jack Seward and Arthur Holmwood said together. "Carfax is Dracula's house," Jonathan explained. "I know because I helped him to buy it. I am sure that the boxes are there." "That explains why Renfield has been so excited," said Seward. 2 weeks ago he escaped, and he ran to the doors of the old church next to Carfax House." "What are we waiting for?" cried Arthur. "Let's go." "Not so fast," said Van Helsing. "We must first prepare ourselves." He took a little gold cross from his pocket and a ring of garlic flowers from a box. He hung them both round Jonathan's neck. He did the same to Dr. Seward, Arthur, and Quincy. But when he came to Mina, he said, "Madam Mina, I will not ask you to join us. It will not be a woman's work. You have already traveled far today, and you will need to rest." Mina wanted to go with them, but Van Helsing refused. Jack Seward had a lot of old keys on a ring. He tried 14 before the 15th turned. The door opened without a push. Van Helsing made a cross in the air with his right hand and went in first. The floor was dirty, and there was a terrible earthy smell. "It's his breath," said Jonathan. "I remember it well." Van Helsing counted the earth-filled boxes that were piled against the walls. 29, he said angrily, turning to the others. "That means that 21 boxes have already gone. The enemy is winning." He started to count them again. Then he stopped when something touched his arm. It was Arthur's hand. "What's the matter?" Van Helsing asked impatiently. "I thought I saw a face," Holmwood said, pointing towards one of the many dark passages around them. "It was just for a second, a pale face with sharp red eyes and an evil, smiling mouth." Nobody moved for a minute, and then Arthur put on a brave smile. "It was probably just a shadow," he said. Quincy Morris walked towards the passage, holding a light high in his hand. "There's no sign of anything," he called back at last. "Only walls." But then he suddenly stepped back, and everybody jumped nervously. The old church seemed alive with movement. The shadowy corners and passages around them began to fill with a strange red light. Thousands of small red stars began to shine out of the darkness. "Rats!" Quincy shouted. "Thousands of them!" "Run for the doors!" Van Helsing cried, and everybody ran. There were rats everywhere, under their feet, in their hair, hanging on to their clothes. At last, they reached the door and shut it quickly. Outside, in the moonlight, it was safe. They took deep breaths of cold, fresh air. "When we come back tomorrow," Van Helsing said at last, "Arthur must bring his dogs." "Tomorrow?" cried Dr. Seward. "I don't want to come back here ever again." "We have to," was the reply. "We must destroy these boxes. And then we must find the other 21. Until we do that, we will never destroy the vampire."